I'm in my bed and you're not here. And there's no one to blame but the drink and my wandering hands. Forget what I said. It's not what I meant. And I can't take it back. I can't unpack the baggage you left. What I just did is taking action. And you may or may not think that I sound great, and that's okay. But we are talking about action again. What I did also was something that is not comfortable for me, that I like to do really, but I'm putting myself out there because Jason and I, again, are talking about action. Now, that's also hard and scary for people to do. But what I'm showing you is that by taking action, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Now, I am not clearly a trained professional singer, but I want to show you by taking action, by taking small steps, we can do anything that we set our mind to. So this episode is about our aim for hope, and aim, the A in aim stands for action. Tony Robbins, a famous motivational speaker, and he travels all over around talking about motivation and all of these things. And he says, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. So if I would have never put myself out there and sung, I would always be thinking it's impossible. I can't sing and this and that because my mind is telling me that I can't do certain things. But the only impossible journey is the one each one of us, never begin. In taking action, sometimes all we have to do is take one small step, put yourself in motion, and then it's going to become much easier. So today we're going to talk again about action because we feel very strongly that if we take action, that we can change our lives.
Thank you, Shane, for being vulnerable today. And really, that's what it's about. Sometimes the things that are hard or fearful, and we've said this, is the thing that we need to do, right? That's the very, very thing that needs to happen. And so, to take that action, yeah, I'm sure it was scary or whatever, but that's we're doing exactly what we're saying. So Mark Twain, an American author, said, "The secret to getting ahead is getting started." And I really believe that to be true, because that's how you're going to move and take action. You just get going.
Mm-hmm.
You move. So I'm going to go back to the four fundamentals of marksmanship, which I've mentioned before, which are steady position, aim, breath control, and trigger squeeze. And so I'm kind of lumping the aim into those four fundamentals of marksmanship. And so action I am putting as the first two, which is a steady position and aim. So what do I mean by a steady position? To steady something is to make sure it doesn't fall or it stays in a straight line, right? What I mean is to stay steady in your position of moving forward. Even if you step off the path, right? Even if you're trying to get to a goal and you didn't quite get to where you were going, at least you were moving forward. Even if you veer off a little bit, at least you're moving towards that goal continuously, towards that direction, even if it's off. Sometimes the way that we get there is not always a straight line. But by taking action, you're going to help steady that position towards the goal that you want. If you never take action, then how are you ever going to steady your position? And how are you ever going to aim at it? So that's why I'm saying action is the first two fundamentals of marksmanship, which is steady position and aim, because we need to steady that position to put ourselves on a straight line towards it, and then aim at what we're shooting at. Whether we actually veer off a little bit or not is a different story. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we want to steady our position and aim And by doing that, we're taking action. And we're taking action by doing those two things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That I love that. I really do. I feel like I learned when we first talked about that. So I'm glad we keep bringing that up because I think we can learn from that. Speaking of that, we all have knowledge. Every one of us has knowledge. If that knowledge will lead us to success, why isn't everybody just doing that to be successful? We all have access to the same exact knowledge. That's not a secret. That's really not. But the ones who get ahead in life are the ones who take that knowledge that is available to all of us and they take action. That's the only difference between somebody who might be successful or seem successful and one who might seem like they're not or feel like they're not successful. It comes down to, in my mind, to action. That's it, because we all have all the knowledge that is that out there is available to all of us. The people who are successful don't have different knowledge that is only accessible to them, but they just take action. So if you knew you were going to be successful, wouldn't you take the steps to do what is needed for you to be successful? Without that action, none of us will be successful. But all we have to do sometimes, like I said, is take one step. Now, I know I'll never be a professional singer. I just know I won't. And that's okay. I'm not identifying with that, and that's fine. But what I wanted to show the listeners was no matter what we tell our mind, if we just take action, then we can be happy and we can allow others to be happy.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And so one of the things that I want to clear up is that, taking action also doesn't mean that we're not going to make mistakes, right? Or have hardships. And that's, those are just going to come, but it simply means that you are moving towards the things you want and desire. And that's what taking action is. In fact, oftentimes, most likely when you're taking the action is when you're going to feel those hardships even a little bit harder, right? Because you're moving, you're taking action, you're changing the direction that you're moving, right? And so that's when it's going to come. Webster's dictionary says that to aim is to direct a course. And so I want you to kind of think about that as we're talking about our AIM series, which is AIM. And so this is the first portion of that, which is action. So I just want you to kind of think about that as we're aiming, we're directing our course towards what we want. Catherine Pulsifer said, sometimes our actions are much more meaningful than words. A hug can sometimes express more than our words will ever express. And I loved that because it goes back to what Shane and I believe at our core, which is that we want to spread love. We want to have more positivity. I love giving hugs. And so if you need a hug and you're close by me, great, I'll give you a hug. If you want a virtual hug, well, here it is. I'm sending you my virtual hug. I want you to feel the energy and the love that I have for each one of you that are listening, because that is what I'm going to take action. And I'm going to give you that virtual hug.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Those of you who have followed our journey from the first few episodes till now, you might think that Jason and I keep going back to action, but it's something that we strongly believe in, that we do keep bringing it up because it's not as difficult, I think, as sometimes we make it out to be. Again, we're asking you to put yourself in motion, to take one small step. Now, sometimes it's the noise around us that gets us to not take that action. And I've talked about that before, to eliminate the noise around it. And when I say that, what I'm meaning is it could be the voices in our head that are saying, Shane, you can't do this. Don't do this. Or that's a waste of time. That to me is the noise that I'm talking about. It could be other people that are talking to us and saying, oh no, that's not possible. That's impossible. You can't do that. What they don't know is the power inside of you. So don't let all that noise that's going around us, that's constant, distract us from taking action. What we should do is focus on removing that noise, at least minimizing it to a degree so that it's not as loud as the power that we have to take the action.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And, as I was kind of putting my thoughts and notes together for this particular episode, it took me back to an episode, Shane, you and I did, where we talked about the power of words. So I want to bring that up just a little bit, but words are powerful. And that episode was really, really good. If you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen to that episode. It was great. But people follow the example and actions of others, right? So if that's how much power there are in other people's words and their actions, right? So if they're going to take a step, that's why. And Shane brought this up in one of our other episodes about Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. Well, up till that point, it had never been done. But how soon after he broke the 4-minute mile was it like there? It was happening all the time. It was happening more often, and it's because of the action that he took that caused other people to take action and say, "Oh, well, if he can do it, I can too." And so that's really what this is we can, and it is totally okay to ride the coattails of somebody else. As if they've taken that action, go ahead and follow their example if that's something you want to accomplish. As long as it's moving forward and taking the action and doing the thing that you want and desire, that's what it's all about. So I just want you to think about that as we're talking today. Jensen Siaw, an international motivational speaker in Asia, said, "Don't wait till you are ready to take action. Instead, take action to be ready." So I loved how he put it, because it's that very thing is like, oh, I'm not ready to do that thing. I'm not ready for this, that, or the other thing, right? I'm not ready to get out of my shell. But you taking action are preparing yourself for what it is that you want. And so I want you to think about it kind of in that context.
I'm really glad you brought up the power of words. I totally, completely agree with that. We talked about it. But what I was thinking of when you brought that up was, you and I, we can say anything on the podcast, and those really are just words. They really are. But with action, those words now become very powerful. So if you're listening, you have been taking action by listening. You can also take action by maybe sharing this with somebody, maybe sharing a past episode that's really touched you with someone that you're close with, a friend, a family member, something. It really truly is, if we each take one small step and we start that motion, we are going to be unstoppable. We really are. And so, yeah, we do keep bringing up action, and that is part of our aim. But it's so important for Jason and I, and that's why we keep talking about it, because we've seen with us personally, with the podcast alone, that we took action, and it is moving wonderfully now for us. We're seeing some great things, and we're meeting great people. We're getting some really good feedback. And so we're putting our words into action. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I wanted to talk about that episode, because Shane and I, when we talked about that, we put that episode together, and it really is a great episode. Shane and I put a lot of thought into all of our episodes. And so that one is no stranger to the things that we believe and truly think that they will happen. And so words are powerful. I'm going to go back to hope just a little bit, because we love hope. Obviously, that's everything we live by. But I tend to lean towards hope being a verb than a noun. And I'm going to explain that. So what's the difference between a verb and a noun? Well, a verb, right, takes action. So it requires action to find hope. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're like, oh, I'm hopeless, or I'm hopelessness, or I'm, those kinds of things, you got to take the action to kind of find more hope. And so that's why we have our acronym AIM for Hope, because we want action to be at the forefront of aiming towards that hope, which is the goal, is to get more hope and have more hope and be hopeful. Hope without action is just wishing that things will change, right? Nothing's actually changing. And so I want you to think about it more in the sense of a verb than a noun, which is that it's going to take action. I think we, Shane and I, we do take action. And I think that we really strive to better our episodes, better our audience, better our guests. And we're taking action to continue to move forward and progress. And I hope that you've really felt our journey, and that you in your life take action today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do the thing today that you want. American President John Quincy Adams said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And I loved the way that is put, because Shane and I want you to dream more. We want you to learn more and be more and get better and do the things. That's why we started this journey in the first place, was to help you find within yourself what we already believe and know to be true. And that is that you are a fighter. You are somebody who is excellent at what you do, your craft, whatever that be. And it could be something like you don't have the craft today. Well, take the action today to get one step closer. Learn from the person that you want to learn from. If it's you want to be a better painter, then watch Bob Ross and just start going for it, right? If it's to be a better singer, well, throw some music on and dance and sing, right? That's what we're talking about, is just take the action today to do the thing that you want.